So today I thought I would do a quick product review of this Manuscript drawing pen set. I picked it up in Hobbycraft and it cost £10.50. It was the only pen and ink dip pen and ink set that they had, so I was kind of tied to getting it because I really wanted to give it a go. And my previous pen and ink was a d.leonardt, but it was more of a calligraphy pen, and I really wanted something that I could just use as a drawing pen. So I didn't really get an awful lot of choice in what I was buying because it was the only one they had. And it is actually a drawing and mapping nib set. It says on the box that it's ideal for varied nib flex, line width and detail. And it contains 5 nibs and 2 pens. It says on the box as well that they've been calligraphy specialists since 1856. So, I mean, they've been doing it a long time. So I would hope that this set is going to be a good set. On the back of the box, it says that Manuscript's drawing and mapping set offers a selection of 5 Leonardt pointed pen nibs. Leonardt? Is that how you pronounce it? I'm not sure. Ideal for illustrating, sketching and map drawing. Complete with expertly engineered British-made Leonardt nibs of varying fine points. 2 dip pen holders and a keepsake d.leonardt and Co. nib tin. And then there's just a warning that says after use, wash and dry your nibs thoroughly to prevent corrosion. So this set is made in Britain. And yes, so let's do the unboxing. I'm very happy to see that it's all cardboard packaging. The little tin is very cute. It reminds me of a little pill box, I suppose. Yeah, it's really nice. It says Birmingham on there, but on the box it says Shropshire, so I'm not sure what that is all about. Yeah, but it's a very pretty little tin, that one. I'll be glad to have somewhere nice to keep my nibs. So there's 5 nibs in this set. The first nib only fits the red holder. The actual pens, they feel like they're made of plastic. The burgundy coloured brown one has what I expect is a standard fitting for a nib pen. The first nib, it says on it, the writing's quite hard to read, but it is printed with 801. The second nib, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a number or a code. It's basically 11L1. The third nib has 33 stamped on it. The fourth nib says General. And the fifth one says 518. Yeah, they're very hard to read. So what I decided to do was to just give each of the nibs a little go. I wasn't going to draw anything specific. I was just going to make some lines on the page and just take a look at the nib and what it would do. So the one that's marked General, well, it is quite a long pointed nib, and as I was drawing with it, well, it feels like it's just functioning like a normal fountain pen nib. I can make thick lines, I can make thin lines, the ink is flowing really well, but it is quite a pointed nib and it has quite a long well. I don't know what you call those little gaps in the nib. I should really look that up. The one that's marked 11L1, at least I think that's what it says. It could be something else. Is that a T on the end? Yeah, I can't really read that. It's very fine printed on the nib. This nib looks much more like a fountain pen nib, like a traditional fountain pen nib. but the point is much smaller than the general nib, and it's given very fine but very smooth lines. The nib that's marked or stamped with 33, it looks like a work of art. It's like an arrowhead and it's really beautiful to look at actually. I was quite surprised, it actually provides quite a thick line. I couldn't tell an awful lot of difference between using this nib and the nib marked general, but I did feel as I was using it that it was giving off a lot more ink with each stroke. So maybe it was giving a slightly thicker line than the general nib. The nib marked 518. Well, I actually couldn't get this to flow with any ink at all. There's no split down the middle of the nib. At least I swear there isn't. Yeah, I don't know what this is used for. So if anyone has a clue what this one is used for, because yeah, I honestly could not get any ink to flow. There's no split down the nib. There's no hole in the nib. I don't know what this is about. Is this one of the specialist mapping nibs? I mean, yeah, I don't know what that's all about. So if anyone knows, please let me know in the comments below, because I've tried looking it up and I just couldn't find out at all. The nib marked 801 for the red holder. This is a very fine and delicate nib. It actually felt like it might break as I was using it, but I'm sure it won't. But it gives a really nice fine line. I can really imagine that would be quite good for extra detail. So I thought I'd have a go at using this set for a drawing. So recently I've been drawing quite a lot of ruins in my sketchbook, and I've been using just a black gel pen for the drawings. And so that was the reason why I wanted to try a dip pen for these drawings, because I thought they would work really well. So I started with the second nib that I've showed you, the one that's marked 11L1, and I found it was quite fine, and so I switched over to using the general nib. It is very different from using a gel pen. With a gel pen, it just glides on the page. And it's not that these inks don't glide on the page, they do, but creating the lines is very different. With a gel pen, you've really only got one kind of line that you can make, and you can cross hatch it, and you can do all sorts of things like you could with a regular pencil or any other pen. But with the dip pen, it really does make a difference how hard and how much pressure that you put on the page. So I carried on using this dip pen and ink, and I really did enjoy it very much. The nibs hold quite a lot of ink. I wasn't repeatedly having to dip the pen into the inkwell. And overall, I was very happy with the different sorts of lines I was able to achieve. This is only my second pen and ink drawing that I've ever done, so I'm not an expert yet, I'm still learning, and if you want to follow my progress then do go and have a look at my art practice videos. But I'm quite hooked now actually, and I did go on to doing another drawing in my sketchbook, and this one I used the rather ornate nib number 33, and I really did like using this one. I think this is going to be my favourite, not only because it's the prettiest nib, but because I could get quite a variety of very thin and very thick lines from the nib. So using the dip pen is very different from using a gel pen for drawing. I think what I'm finding most is that my nib, my pen strokes are much more thought out than when I use the gel pen. And yeah, so the lines that I'm drawing I do them a lot slower and they're far more deliberate, and I actually find it quite mindful to do. I can sit and get absorbed very much into the drawing that I'm working on. And the funny thing is that even when there's a section that I know needs quite a lot of work, it doesn't bother me at all. It's just putting each mark down on the page, one after another, to build up the picture. And one of the other things I've noticed is that I've been using this nib quite a lot, and perhaps I was a bit lazy and I rinsed it off under the tap whilst it was still in the pen holder. I left it for about an hour or two, and I came back and carried on with the drawing that I was working on. And then when I took the nib out of the holder to give it a good wash, I noticed that it's kind of tarnished. The black ink has kind of tarnished the nib, and at the bottom of the nib where you insert it, it looks like it's almost rust on there. Is that normal? I don't know. I really like using this nib. This is my favourite nib. It's pretty, it holds an awful lot of ink, but I am quite disappointed. I don't know if this is normal or not. I will try using some of the other nibs and see if the same thing happens. The only modification that I've made is that in this little tin I've put a little bit of felt just to stop the nibs from rattling around and to protect the nibs whilst they're in the tin. That would have been a really nice touch if they had put a little liner or something in that tin. So the next day I settled down to do another drawing because I wanted to try out a different nib. I was quite upset to see that the coating on the pen had all cracked down one side. Now this might have been because I didn't dry it properly, but I'm quite sure that I did. And it's got like a plastic painted coating on the wood. I can see it's wood underneath. And that was just peeling off, and it was uncomfortable to hold, so I peeled it away. And it's still uncomfortable to hold. Yeah, I'm going to have to put something over that or pull all the paint off. I'm not sure the paint will all come off, but yeah, that's not comfortable to hold. I can feel the ridges and it doesn't feel comfortable. It's, yeah, not good. So what started out as me being very excited to have a nice posh dip and ink pen has actually taken a bit of a downturn. I can't believe that the paint should just crack off on the pen. The nibs are discoloured and it looks like one of them has gone a little bit rusty. And I don't know if that's because there might be traces of rust on the inside of where you insert the nib, where it's got wet when I've washed it. So yeah, I need to try and fix that. I'm not feeling it now. I was really keen to do another pen and ink drawing today, but yeah, I'm not feeling that at all. I'm quite disappointed with this pen and nib set. I know it was only £10.50. I have looked online and I can see that you can buy the individual nibs for just a couple of pounds each. And you can also buy replacement pens as well, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be buying another one of these Leonardt pens because I've done 4 pictures now. I've used it 4 times. If I'd have had it a year and it had started cracking, fair enough. But, you know, and I know it wasn't terribly expensive, but £10.50 is £10.50 at the end of the day. So would I recommend dip pen drawing? Yes, I would. If you haven't tried it, do give it a go. You can get inexpensive sets on the internet and it might be worth a try. Would I recommend this drawing and mapping set? No, not at all. I think by the time I finished my 3rd drawing, I was feeling quite happy and I was quite excited and I thought I was going to be giving this a really good review. Then I noticed the tarnishing and the staining on the nibs. I don't know if this is normal or not. The d.leonardt nib that I had, the calligraphy nib, that hasn't tarnished at all. And then I spotted the rust on the inside and that was a little bit disheartening. And then so this morning, yeah, I suppose the plus side is I've got this lovely little tin to put all the nibs in. And yeah, quite disappointed. Definitely not going to recommend this. If any of you out there are expert pen and inkers and can recommend a good quality pen that I could buy to try, that would be wonderful. So do let me know in the comments below. Oh well, there you go. That is the Manuscript Drawing and Mapping Dip Pen Set. Anyway, if this review has been useful to you, do give me a thumbs up. And yeah, if you've got any advice or recommendations, do leave them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching.